Hi everybody, welcome back to another edition of Paleo Cooking Live. I have lots of fun things planned for you today, but I must forewarn you, it's a rainy day here in Florida and I'm standing under two large skylights. So if it starts to get dark and you start hearing some rumbling, we're just gonna disregard it because there's no rain delays in the kitchen, okay? So the first thing I wanna show you is roasted garlic. This is one of those things that when you make it for the first time, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. I literally just took 2 whole heads of garlic and cut the tops off so that you can see all of the cloves inside. So all of the cloves are exposed. And then I put them in a small baking dish with just enough oil to barely cover them. And a sprig of fresh rosemary. You can leave that out if you don't like rosemary. And then I loosely covered the whole thing with foil and roasted it in a 300-degree oven for about 40. What you're gonna get from there is this gorgeous, golden, unctuous piece of garlic. All these cloves are gonna pop right out of here. I'm just gonna squeeze it. I took it out of the oil and I dabbed it off a little bit with some paper towels, and I'm just gonna squeeze it, and those garlic cloves pop right out. And then you can throw the skins away. And I'm just going around squeezing the whole thing. And what do you do with this roasted garlic cloves? Well, let me tell you. They are amazing in just about anything that you would use fresh garlic, but they have a little more subtle and of course roasted flavor. I'm gonna wash my hands because they are very oily. And the oil is something that you don't waste. You're gonna use that oil for anything that you wanna just add a nice bit of fragrance to. So finished roasted vegetables, for example, you could use it in a salad dressing. You could make aioli with it. You could make garlic aioli with the garlic cloves. It's just endless. You can smear these on top of a grilled steak. There's just many, many options. So that's the first thing that I wanted to show you. And I'm gonna set those aside because the next thing we're gonna do is make a roasted garlic cauliflower mash with the roasted garlic cloves. I've got some cauliflower cooking on the stove. I cooked it in a steam basket. I'll show you. So essentially, this is a double boiler. If you don't have a double boiler, you can just use a pot and boil them. Boil the cauliflower. I'm gonna take the lid off and I'll show you, this is just a steamer basket. And I've cut up all of the cauliflower in bite-sized pieces and steamed them until they are just falling apart. It's overcooked for regular cauliflower, okay? But you want this knife to go through the stems with very little resistance because we're gonna make them smooth. We're gonna basically puree it. And then I wanted to show you something that maybe you don't know. This is a great technique for cutting a cauliflower. A cauliflower is considered a cruciferous vegetable. Cruciferous because it actually grows in the shape of a cross. So if you look at these leaves or anything that is considered part of the cabbage family, they're all cruciferous vegetables. So this is a really easy way to break down a cauliflower. I'm just gonna take off all these leaves. And this is a little baby organic cauliflower. And once all the leaves are gone, you can see how it has these segments. So all I'm gonna do is with my chef's knife, I'm gonna go around in a square, basically where each one of those crisscrosses would be, straight down and across a little bit to make a nice slice all the way around. And you can see they just start to fall right off. I'll take the rest of those leaves off and get them out of the way. And then you just have this top part left, okay? And you cut that off. And now you have the cauliflower in pieces that you can either cook at this size, break down into smaller pieces, chunks, whatever you prefer for the dish that you're gonna be doing. So for these, you know, I made them somewhat smaller, but depending on how long you cook them, you know, you just want them to be nice and soft. So let me get all this out of the way. And this cauliflower recipe could not be easier because we've already steamed the cauliflower. We're just going to add this because I didn't boil it. I steamed it. It's already drained. The water's down here. Didn't come in contact with the water, only the steam. And that really helps preserve the nutrients too. But again, if you don't have a steamer basket, just go ahead and boil it. And I'm gonna add this to my food processor. Let me move my food processor so it's a little closer so you can see. How's that? There we go. I'm just gonna put all of this cauliflower into the food processor and it fills it up very nicely. And I'm just gonna turn this on and pulse it a few times because I'm trying to get that broken down the rest of the way. The other thing you can do, if you don't want to use fresh cauliflower or time as a consideration, just go ahead and use cauliflower rice. Use frozen cauliflower rice, 2 bags, like, you know, 16-ounce bags. Follow the directions on the bag to just nuke them in the microwave, and when they're hot, dump the bags into the food processor and then go ahead with the rest of this recipe just as you would if you did it from fresh cauliflower. I'm gonna stir this around a little bit. And this is completely paleo because we're gonna use some ghee. And this is my new grass-fed ghee from Thrive Market. They're one of my new partners and I love everything I'm getting from them. So I'm gonna do about 2 tablespoons. I'm using a big soup spoon, maybe a little bit more. I like it to be really buttery. And then I'm gonna add some of those garlic cloves. About 2 or 3, depending on how garlicky you want it to be. Don't forget, this is gonna be a lot more subtle than a fresh garlic clove. So you can definitely go with a little more and not worrying about it overpowering the dish. And I have to get my lid on. There's lots of safety features with this machine. And you can't turn it on unless you've got it locked properly. So now I'm just gonna let that ghee and garlic get all processed in. Starting to be nice and smooth. So I'm gonna switch this from pulse to let it run. I'm gonna add about a half a cup of coconut milk. It's coconut milk right out of the can. And I'm just gonna add it while the machine is running. This is not a half a cup. This is a whole can, which is 13.5 ounces. But I'm just gonna add, I think it's about a half a cup. I have that in the recipe. But depending on how thick you want it or how light, you can just add enough coconut milk to get it to the consistency you need. So let's check that. And the garlic smell is coming out of this food processor and it's just amazing. And there you go. That's it. Very simple. Smooth, thick like mashed potatoes, but it's dairy-free. It's cauliflower, so if you don't want to eat the potatoes, it's a great option. You can serve it with meatloaf, put gravy on it, anything you like. This is an awesome option and quick. So give that a try and let me know how you like it. The next thing I want to show you is this wonderful green salad. I made this salad for Memorial Day and it really came out delicious. I'm gonna clean up my mess here a little bit. Cauliflower everywhere. Do you make a mess in your kitchen? I love to make a mess because usually I don't clean up. I have my son or my husband clean up, or whoever happens to be over for dinner. They are so grateful that I cook that they clean up. So what's wrong with that, right? You want me to cook for you? The only rule is that you clean up. So I'm just gonna grab my cutting board here real quick. And I'm gonna show you this green salad that is just summer in a bowl. I call it fresh. It's just so fresh. What I have here that I've started already is some green beans and some snow peas, not snow peas. You can use snow peas, but I really prefer the sugar snap peas because they're a little plumper. They're almost like edamame, but edamame is soy and we don't want to eat soy. So we like these instead. And I just blanched these in a little hot water, just brought it to a boil and turned it off and washed them, rinsed them off with cold, cold water to stop the cooking process. When you do that, you get this nice green color, bright green, without overcooking the vegetables. So it's still nice and crisp. And then I'm just gonna run the knife through these, depending on the size, either 2 or 3 pieces. So they look like that. And that's what I have in here so far. I blanched the green beans, I blanched the sugar snap peas, and then I'm gonna add some radishes. And the technique I wanna show you today, look at these radishes. Are they gorgeous? These are Easter egg radishes. And I love the way they look because, first of all, they're just a beautiful color and they make the salad so beautiful. And then I also like how long they are because they give you a little more radish. So I'm gonna start by just removing the leaves. And you know the leaves are edible. They're a little tough, but they almost have a kale-like consistency. So if you massage them the way you would a kale salad, this is a great thing to add to any cold salad. You can even cook them. Just make sure you rinse all the sand off because they do get kind of sandy. And you know, don't waste them, they're delicious. So I just cut off the greens and that stem end, and I'm cutting off the root end. And then I'm gonna slice it long ways, making thin, about 1/4 inch slices. And again, keep your knuckles forward and your fingertips back. So they look like that. And then I'm stacking them up and I'm gonna go through them this way so they have that pretty color on each end. And I'm just making matchsticks. This is called julienne, okay? Great knife technique. Those French, they have a word for everything. My French friends will appreciate that. And I'm just gonna add these radishes to my green salad. The other thing that I'm adding to this salad is some quinoa. Quinoa is a grain, so if you're doing a reintroduction, it's a nice way to reintroduce greens. Of course, the 2 green beans that I'm using here are technically legumes, but you can eat them because they're more green than beans. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Whole30, we stay away from legumes for 30 days and then we reintroduce. So it would be a way if you were staying away completely from green beans to reintroduce green beans, or also you can eat these all throughout the Whole30. But I'm gonna add some quinoa because it's a nice non-gluten grain to try with your reintroduction, or if you like quinoa, just go ahead and throw it in. If you like couscous and you're okay with gluten, you can use that. So this is about 3/4 cup of quinoa boiled in 1.25 cups of water. And it's nice and fluffy. You just put the lid, fluff it with a fork when you're done, and then I'm just gonna stir that in. And it does make a lot of quinoa. If you decide that you don't want quite that much in the recipe, then you can leave it out and use the quinoa for something else. Now, the dressing for this salad is very unique. It's a mint pesto, and the mint gives this salad such a nice bright flavor. And I'm just gonna use my magic bullet to show you how to make this dressing because it's so simple. You can use a blender, you can go back to the food processor if you'd rather do that. But the first thing I'm gonna do is in the cup of this bullet, I'm gonna add some mint leaves. These are fresh mint leaves. about a half a cup, quarter cup, however minty you like it, and some sliced almonds. And I'm just gonna put the lid on, and I'm gonna pulse that. And I love this for salad dressings because it's really quick. And I also use this every morning for my bulletproof coffee, or as I like to call it, brain fuel coffee. A little MCT oil or some ghee, my non-dairy nut pods creamer, some collagen peptides, and that makes my brain go, whoo, for the day. So now you can see that's nice and ground up. And I'm gonna add, guess what? Some of this roasted garlic. Big surprise, right? About 2 cloves. Now let's go 3. We love the garlic. And this is a half a cup of olive oil. Is it a half or a quarter? It's a quarter. So it's a quarter cup of olive oil. I'm just gonna add about half of it right now. And I'm gonna add the juice of 1 lemon. So you know my trick, to roll the lemon first, and then that gets the insides going nice and juicy. And I love my lemon squeezer because the only thing that goes in is the juice. And this 1 lemon is usually about a quarter cup. So we're gonna add that. And of course I'm using my Casandrinos olive oil because I am addicted. There's nothing like it. And right now on my website, or if you sign up for my newsletter, you can get a code for 20% off of their website. And I highly recommend giving that a try. It'll be another thing that you wondered how you lived without. I'm just doing salt and pepper to taste. I'm gonna put this lid back on and process this again. Because we don't want it to be too chunky. And we want to emulsify that oil a little bit. So now I'm just going to take this off and add the rest of the oil because it's really thick. We want it to be a little smoother. And this is the last round. And I usually make 3 or 4 dishes for you in about a half an hour. And honestly, the prep before I go live does not take that much time. So you can easily knock out any of these dishes during your regular food prep or even right before dinner. So this is done. It's a nice, beautiful green, nice and thick. And we're just gonna spoon this pesto right into the salad and give it a good toss. We don't want any to go to waste. Get that off the blades as well. And the really nice thing about this salad is you can make it in advance. All those flavors will come together. And the last thing I'm gonna throw in is another thing that's just gonna give it a nice bright flavor, 1 scallion. Green and white parts. And I'm just gonna roughly go through the green and white. This always gives it such a wonderful fresh flavor. Stir that together. And that's ready to go. We're gonna have that for dinner tonight with some cauliflower mashed potatoes and some roasted garlic. That's everything I had for you today. Be sure to go on to Living Delish and Nutrish on Facebook and like my page. Ask me any questions. Feel free to comment and let me know what you'd like to see, and I'll be sure to incorporate your suggestions into my future episodes. Thanks again for watching. Make sure you sign up for my newsletter, and great to see you. Mwah. Have a great day.